What's up, everybody? We are back at Around the Mat Pod. I am your host, PJ North. It's another week of wrestling. It's episode 15 here in season 2 of Around the Mat Pod. Man, we're having a good time talking all things wrestling. But before we get into it this week, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching with us live on YouTube, drop a note in the chat. Let us know your thoughts on what we're talking about. We want to hear it. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify after the fact, don't forget to leave us a review and make sure you hit that follow button. Helps us out. And follow us on all social medias at AroundTheMatPod. We're super active on Twitter, on Instagram as well, posting all the shows and everything. So let us know where you're from, where you're watching. If you're digging the show, we want to know about it. And let's get into it. I've got the big homie, the elegant one, Tyler Miller, TY. What's good, baby?
What's going on, PJ? Glad to be back, man. We're kind of reaching a weird transition point.
It's always that WrestleMania lull.
Yeah, dude. It's like, the first few shows after Mania, of course, the ones right after are usually pretty big, but, the period in between that and the next PLE is always kind of a weird time. And, of course, with AEW, we got hopefully a big build up to All In coming, so I'm excited, man.
Yeah, a lot of things happening. Obviously, Double or Nothing's the next AEW pay-per-view, which we'll talk about in a couple weeks. But Backlash next week, I'll be in St. Louis. There is a chance that I will be live in full effect at St. Louis. So we will be off next week. Unfortunately, I have to work a race. So we'll talk a little bit about Backlash today. Because no episode next week. I will not be live. I will be in St. Louis, so maybe I might be there at the event. Maybe, who knows? That would be exciting. If I just showed up, I'd be like, Papa. Maybe I'd be the surprise appearance, right?
There you go.
Hit my music. Yeah, man. A lot of things happening in wrestling right now, and we're gonna get into it. And let's kick it off with the first headline today is SmackDown after Mania was a 10 out of 10. Obviously, our episodes come out on Thursdays to Friday morning, so the SmackDown happens after the fact, and we'd already watched Raw after SmackDown and all those things. But SmackDown after Mania, man, I texted you. I was in Indianapolis. We were watching. It was a 10 out of 10 episode. That's the first SmackDown I haven't fast-forwarded through. I would venture to guess in over a year. I thought it was just a really great episode. The ladder match, all I'm saying is this, man. I understand that you have to do stuff for TV, but that should have been on Mania. You should have got rid of the women's tag match. Becky Lynch sucks, man. I don't care. She should not have been on there over that triple threat tag match. Make us care. Like, you have all these guys that I understand there's only so much room on the main card, but you also had so much wait time. You mean to tell me you couldn't put that on there? Like, that just seems disrespectful as shit to the tag team champions. And those guys, man, like, it's 6 guys that work really, really hard to do something. I really enjoyed the match. I thought that was great. The Black Mass thing, obviously, with Aleister Black coming back. If you saw they caught it quickly. It's a good thing it's on tape delay, because they must have, switched to a different camera to show that he missed the kick. It didn't matter. The effect was still there. I enjoyed that. The only thing that sucked is I can't believe Zelina Vega went over Chelsea. Man, I was not. Yeah. I was like, ugh. That was like, lame. But good for her winning, I guess. Whatever, right? But SmackDown, yeah, dude, 10 out of 10. That's nitpicky stuff, obviously, but like, I really enjoyed it. What say you, man? SmackDown after Mania.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think it was definitely a 10 out of 10. There's a few things, like you just said, that I could nitpick on. One of the big ones for me, I turned it on, and Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton were in a match, and I'm like, what? Who allowed this?
I enjoyed that. See, I thought that was good. I didn't enjoy the ending. I thought the Naomi thing. But, yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, I definitely, would like to see them in something down the road. Yeah, but, sure. With no build-up, I'm like, man, these are 2 of your big stars right here. Like, who allowed this to happen right here?
Do you think if it wasn't the SmackDown after Mania that it even would have happened? I think that they were doing it for the shock, like pure shock factor, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do as well. And watching it the whole time, I was thinking, I'm like, somebody, there's no way either one is going over right here just because of the position that Tiffany's, the position they want Jay to be at. So, something's got to happen, which Agreed. I was okay with that. But, just nitpicky stuff.
Yeah.
And Aleister Black, dude, I'm not too big on him for some reason.
Yeah,
he's kind of
it's kind of wore off. The new is wore off on the thing, right? It's like it was so cool in the next. I don't think people understand like how good he was in PWG coming up, like as Tommy End, and then joining NXT and becoming Aleister Black. Like, I don't think people quite understand how good it. Like, you're looking back, like, and I think everyone's nostalgic maybe about it, of like, oh damn, but like his main roster runs have not been good. His stuff is like the House of Black was fine, but like, I don't know if it's everyone's like, oh, Tony fumbled. I'm like, at some point it has to be the wrestlers thing too. He did get fired from WWE to say like he got released there too. So I don't know, but yeah, I agree. It's not. We'll see what he ends up doing, right?
Yeah, and as far as for Aleister Black, for me, you know, it really comes down to I feel like he's kind of just spooky and creepy for nothing. You know, there's never really been a direction as to why. Kind of, you know, where the Undertaker, we found out about that story. Kane, same thing, you know, and even Bray Wyatt, he really dove deep into his character, and with the Wyatt Six. They're kind of the same way, you know. They're just there and doing spooky shit for no reason, without really much of an explanation. So, you know,
honestly, I'm so thankful that Wyatt Six is not on TV right now.
Yeah,
dude,
same.
I mean, I could not be happier that shit is not on TV. I'm so thankful.
And I did see that, you know, if Mania would have put them on, I really think that would have just sent it right to the dumps, man. Because I did see a couple pitches of, I guess, online.
The whole thing with the new show that's coming out. Yeah. So well, it's interesting how that show's going to play into everybody's smarkiness, right? Because I saw someone post like, they were like, well, no shit, the fans are becoming smarky. Every day you're telling us that it's not real. You're showing us the magic trick immediately after it happens. It's like, yeah, I don't know if it's building new fans or not, or if it's hurting the existing fan base. I guess there's always try to grow the company and do things like that. So we'll see what happens. But all in all, yeah, SmackDown After Mania delivered. Do I think it's going to deliver tomorrow night? We'll talk about that.
If they trim that last hour off, man, I think they pull it off.
We'd really be in the money then, man. If USA would just do us a solid, right? All right, next headline: AEW sells out Arena Mexico for the CMLL show, along with AEW for their next Grand Slam. I don't know much about Lucha Libre other than I know what's on the internet. I watch enough. Like I said, I've watched AAA on Telemundo here in Nashville and things. I know enough about CMLL because I watch stuff on YouTube constantly. I mean, I watch wrestling every night, right? I go to bed, I turn wrestling on, some sort of wrestling thing. I don't know that everyone talks about AEW, you know, in like such a negative connotation to a certain extent online, and I think I've mostly weeded out a lot of those guys online. So I'm now, it's a lot of positive stuff now. I think this is cool, man. I've never been to Arena Mexico, but I do know if I went, I think that if I go back to Mexico at some point, I think that would be cool to visit. I heard it's a cool tourist spot. If you guys don't follow Roy Lucier or the Lucha Blog or Lucha Club on Twitter, follow those guys because they know all about it. That's where I get the majority of my news from. If I'm being like, I watch a lot of that. I read their stuff. I'm excited for it because I think that CMLL has gotten a good rub from AEW. I'm interested to see where it goes from here. Like I said, I just want to talk about it as a headline because I think it's cool, man, that AEW sold out another arena, and I think like all the negative stuff that always happens with ticket sales. And I'm not saying that this was like a direct impact of like, look at them, they're on fire, but like, why isn't it, right? I mean, wrestling is, like I said, at a peak right now. So that's my kind of thought on it. Do you have any thoughts on, like I said, not necessarily just ticket sales, but just overall, like, is it a cool thing for you? Like, what are your thoughts on when they do the cross collab stuff?
I think just depending on the way that they do it, for me, I'm definitely super big on storylines, like I've mentioned before, but you know, there's definitely a point in time too where, you know, I just appreciate good wrestling, and you know, as long as the match is good, and you know, I can appreciate it. But I do think that I think it's pretty cool how they're selling out arenas, you know, in other countries. Just goes to show that, you know, the people online, they're not right, man. You know, regardless if they're might be a few seats empty here and there, whatever. They're still, selling out buildings in another country, whether it's London and Mexico and Australia. They've definitely proved that they can definitely, maybe they're not hanging with WWE on every show, but who's to say they have
delivering
to?
us. I don't think they have to, man. I think that they've now. I think you look at a lot of the discourse online, and it's like it's WWE bots and all type. Like heel Usi is the dumbest shit online, dude. I muted that a long time ago, but the only time I see it now is when people like screenshot the tweet or whatever, and then they quote tweet it, which I find hilarious. But I think like enjoy wrestling, right? Because I don't see the reason to why not to, man. I like I said, I think the CMLL thing is it's be really cool if they run like a 6-week storyline thing to build to it. They've already sold it out, so it's like now you're just like, okay, I'd still like to see storyline matches, right? Like do something where you bring in their champions and all of that stuff, and how you build their heavyweights versus a heavyweight. You don't have to have a clean finish, whatever you got to do.
I think it also kind of goes back to, a lot of the style that we see today, whether it's AEW or WWE. I mean, a lot of it is based on a lot of luchador moves. So I think it's pretty cool.
Lucha Libre plays into it. I don't, if people don't see that, I don't think they're watching their, you know what I mean? I don't know that they're really paying that close of attention if they're not seeing a lot of that. So many great stars have had to travel there and do different things too. So I'm excited. Like I said, it should be cool. I think it's the Grand Slam. I don't know when the actual date is, but it's probably 4 months out because the tickets went on sale. So.
Is that going to be televised as well? Or
yeah, I think it's one of the Grand Slam. Yeah, and they're on Central Time or Mountain Time, so it shouldn't be too bad. Should be cool. All right. This last headline is not going to go 5 minutes, but Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan have introduced
this could go 5 hours for me.
They have introduced a new freestyle professional wrestling I don't know how they're calling it, professional freestyle wrestling, whatever, called Real American Freestyle Wrestling. If there are two people who know less about freestyle wrestling, I'd like to meet them, because I'm here to tell you that Hogan and Bischoff don't know dick all about freestyle Greco-Roman wrestling. Now, they've brought in this other guy, Izzy whatever. Here's my thing. I'm not going to knock it like saying I won't peep the first episode. I might see it if it's a thing. I don't know if they want it to be. I think that wrestling, when I see it on Big Ten Network, which is like the only network I think that shows it is Big Ten Network, because obviously the programs, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, those programs are the big ones, and they're all in the Big Ten. So I see it a lot, right? I've seen Gable Steveson win national titles, all that shit. I'm not knocking that part of it. That's a cool deal. It's interesting. But I don't know how many people want to see holds for 5 minutes and think that, like, I don't like the UFC because I think they dick around too much in the ring or in the octagon, whatever you want to call that jerk off session. So for me, it's like, what are we doing? The worst part is you've got these two swindling, full of shit, old-time wrestling guy, pro wrestling guys, kayfabe, trying to do it. I don't know, man. Bischoff's always looking for an angle. My guy is, not done a great job with certain. I'm not knocking him, like, whatever. I get his old school appeal, and it was awesome in the 90s. But, like, has it been awesome since? Ever? Has it ever been awesome since he left WWE the second time? The first time, I should say, after the first. Has it ever been awesome since? Dude, I'm so sick of Hogan. Like, I was such a Hogan fan as a kid, like a little kid. Who wasn't a Hogan fan, right? I've got the Wrestle Buddy. I had a wrestling like, who wasn't a Hogan fan as a kid? But, like, my guy, right off into the sunset and shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? That's my rant for 2.5 minutes about it. That's how I feel. What say you, man? What are your thoughts?
Man, I'm going to echo just about everything you just said there. But according to Hulk, man, everything's a shoot to him. So we'll see. But man,
I would love to see him actually shoot, like, get into a shoot thing, because even like back in the day, like, he wasn't a tough guy. So, like, imagine him actually getting into a shoot.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably reasons that he did back in the day, but I mean, I think it'll be a good chance to for Eric Bischoff to prove that he's the almighty pro wrestling god like he thinks he is on the internet, and he takes jabs at WWE and AEW and what he would do, and hopefully we'll get to see something more entertaining than both of those, since he thinks he's capable of that.
Yeah,
We'll see. But I don't know. I don't think Hogan is gonna, with his name being associated with anything. I think he's got too much bad publicity, and I don't think that people will check it out once or twice, and if you don't get them hooked for there, from those first couple options.
Why would you pick Hogan and not Kurt Angle?
Absolutely.
Or I'm not saying Brock Lesnar's available, but someone like that, or Shelton Benjamin, who's actively still a wrestler, or Chad Gable, or any of this, any of the other wrestlers who are available. Now I'm 100% sure that they will get investors, and Gable Steveson will be the first one crowned world. I'm not saying it's going to be kayfabe, but he's definitely going to be that guy, right? 100% going to be that guy. Look, everything now in the world, everything in America has been commercialized. Everything. Track and field is commercialized. Women's softball is commercialized. Women's volleyball is commercialized. Soccer is commercialized. Minor league baseball is everything is commercialized. That is so niche. I get it. I'm not knocking that part. Go get that bag, dog. I just don't know about longevity-wise if you've picked the right horses to ride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It gives name brand to it, but Hogan is not a wrestler. Hogan is not a Greco-Roman freestyle wrestler.
And at that point, too, with Hogan being attached, it does give a name, but, at what cost? It's at this point in time, it's not really a good name. And
sure.
I've been rewatching a lot of WCW stuff from the 90s and going back and dissecting it now as an adult, as a wrestling fan, versus when I watched it as a kid. A lot of that stuff wasn't good. I mean, I can count on maybe one hand.
Look,
and
nostalgia is real. Nostalgia is a sickness.
Yeah. I can count on one hand, in a year how many times they actually had a clean main event finish. So I mean,
it's pretty wild. We'll
see how
the undercard of WCW is actually what made WCW good, and I don't think people talk about that enough.
Absolutely,
they had the superior wrestling matches, and that's what actually made WCW good. And I don't think people talk about that enough. But
yeah, and I mean, if Eric would have seen that, developed them, and utilized that, as those other old stars were transitioning out, WCW might be around today.
Well, can't all be winners, I suppose.
That's right.
Those are the headlines. Let's get into our next topic here. And the reason I've titled it Raw is Meh is because I think we look at the fall off after Mania. The amount of people that take a break, the amount of people that go away. Now, obviously, the Seth Rollins thing was awesome, and I'm still into that idea. I thought Monday, the main event was great. I thought Io versus Roxanne was cool. I did think that was good, right? I wasn't knocking that. My other thing was it's so hard to follow up. It is so hard to hit a home run every week. I get that. So we're being nitpicky. I understand. However, the bad stuff that you put on is so bad sometimes that it's fuck. AEW has done this too. I'm not knocking this isn't just a WWE thing. This is pro wrestling in general. I think we got to have an off season or some shit, because it's damn, dude, it's hard to hit a home run every single time. And so I'm being nitpicky, but there are some things that I'm just this is dog shit. I can't be the only guy who sees that. If you don't have a good storyline to tell, then send out the best wrestlers you have. I don't know, Penta, actual Chad Gable. You trying to tell me you don't have a bunch of people who can actually wrestle? If you can't build a good storyline, stop playing these shitty backstage segments. If you have actual wrestlers on the roster, send them out there and have a fucking match. That's me, man. That's why I think Raw is damn, you hit it out of the park the week before. Then SmackDown was a hammer. And then you do that dumb shit, dude. And Lyra and Becky, what are we doing? Get it off my TV. It is dog shit. Look, I'm not knocking either one of their abilities. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the chemistry and the thing that they're doing right now is not good. That's a personal thing, and that's cool, whatever. But I don't see how people who like it, even if you're a huge Becky stan, there's no way that you're hell yeah, what she was saying was awesome.
this is it.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't be the only person that thinks that. I don't know. And again, this is me just, I'm not knocking them. Anytime I ever say anything about a third, it's not about knocking them. It's about knocking the situation that it's in and its poor delivery. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion of it, though. What about you? What's your thoughts on Raw after this and just kind of the season after Mania and how hard it is to follow up?
Yeah, I mean, to say that I enjoyed SmackDown this past week more than Raw, that's a huge.
Is that not crazy to think? It's not crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a few things that I really didn't like a whole lot. I mean, as far as Sami Zayn, I just feel like he needs something new, dude.
The fact that they sent out there. Here's my biggest thing: the fact that they sent out Chad Gable as El Grande Americano and they didn't do El Generico. I hope that it's Sammy who said, "Nah, I don't want to do that." Like, I hope to God, because any other reason is bullshit.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as Sammy, dude, I feel like he does need like a fresh coat of paint after the
he's been the baby face a little too long, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like he needs a little bit more of a direction as far as a character goes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's there for him. I feel like he can also get the crowd behind him, and I feel like I'm not giving up hope on him yet, but I feel like he just needs something different.
I would love him to win a world title.
Same, dude. It would be pretty cool. But as far as the faction with Braun and Seth and Heyman going on, I feel like they're almost from the way that they're talking, it sounds like they're almost building what the Death Riders should have been.
Sure.
For me.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think as far as Becky Lynch, that would be the best thing for her right now. Obviously, she doesn't fit the mold as what they've got going on, but they could put her in there and they could make it work, especially with Heyman.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously going to win the Intercontinental title, and that's fine. I don't think she's going to give the rub to this young one.
Yeah.
I don't know her personally. I'm not saying it's like a personality thing. Like, it's not like a Hogan thing. I'm just saying, like, I just think that obviously she should beat Lyra.
Lyra. I mean, for me, man, it's literally like sitting here watching, staring at the wall, dude. She's just
bad.
not.
It's not my thing, dude. Yeah, she's great in ring, but like outside of that, it's pretty bad. What would you say the tanning budget is for the new faction with Paul, Braun, and Seth?
Man, they better hope it's high.
I'm here to tell you the spray tan that those guys are using is like,
especially Braun, man.
My guy gets darker and darker. I want to just be like, brother, you don't have to tan this week. You're good. You can let it ride for a few weeks and then hit it again. Like, you are Triple H leather level of orange right now, my guy. Yeah. Like, you remember when Triple H was just like baked in it? He looked like a honey baked ham. That's what Braun looks like right now, dude.
And it's just so noticeable too. I don't know if it's like it's applied or the color that's applied, but it is so noticeable.
And it's so unnecessary, dude. It's like that Adam Cole situation. I'm like, brother, you look like you have jaundice. Like, relax on the tan, my guy.
The spray tans like actually in the ring under the lights, so they know.
You would think that you mean to tell me Triple H watches all this other shit that he's got his hands on, and he doesn't once look back at him like, hey, go take a fucking shower. Like, what is wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing?
Absolutely.
At least Hogan's fake tan like looked correct all the time. I don't know, man. It's a weird deal. But yeah, I don't know. The Raw after Mania, I just think like wrestling could stand to use maybe a couple weeks off sometimes. Like, I don't know. Take a couple weeks to just do some highlights from the year or some shit. And I understand that's what makes wrestling unique, but also sometimes that's what makes wrestling bad. You know?
Yeah. At the same time, they try to plan for after those big events like Mania, but I mean, you really can't. And
I'm not saying that they don't have big shit too, right? Like, it's not like they don't have like great shit going on, right? But like to have Penta talk and say, "Please give me," like, that was so bad. That makes him look bad. It's just not a good look.
Yeah, and one other thing I meant to bring up was the Pat McAfee thing, dude. I love Pat, but I don't need to see him in the ring. Does he really need a match?
Fair. I'll tell you this. I enjoy Pat in the ring, and I enjoyed Pat jumping on the table and talking that shit. However, how do y'all see this going? Like, you're either going to bury Gunther, and I'm not saying that Pat's not a big star and you put him in the match, and all that, but like, you either bury Gunther in some form. Like, there's ways to do it, but like, Are they going to have a 20-minute Gunther banger where he's just chopping the shit out of Pat? Because I liked Pat in the ring when he was doing the thing with Cole back in the Adam Cole and all that stuff. I'm not saying I love Pat McAfee. So I also don't understand the discourse of people not liking him on an. I have you seen a lot of that? Everyone's like shit. I don't get that at all because I think he elevates Michael Cole. He makes like Michael Cole bearable if we're being honest with each other. But I don't know, man. There's a lot. I agree with you. I'm like, do I want to see him in the ring? I don't know, but I don't see how it's going to go. I'm gonna let it play out. So it's not like Raw wasn't 12 out of 12 bad. It was just like, it's hard to follow up after Mania is my point. You know what I mean?
To dive a little deep into some of the internet stuff here, what are you buying into any of the backstage turmoil with Triple H and The Rock potentially creative and anything like that?
I genuinely think that Triple H and The Rock might not be best friends, right? Like I genuinely believe that they actually probably don't get along. I think maybe blackface Triple H had something to do with it back in the day. I also think Rock has a massive ego and always has, and like it comes off while he does a lot of nice stuff. Sometimes it comes off because he's so in your face about how nice he is, makes it seem disingenuine. You know what I'm saying? Right. To a certain extent. I don't know.
Something that made me think about it was I know how close him and McAfee are.
Yeah.
And is he the one that saying, "Hey, McAfee's a big star. All eyes are on him with the ESPN show. Really, really popular right now. Let's put him in there. See if we can get some ticket sales that way." I
would say this. A lot of people talk about big stars in wrestling, Logan Paul and Rock, and I would tell you all that Pat is probably the most known person in the WWE right now.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I understand that The Rock has whatever Instagram followers and all that shit, but like if you want to talk about stardom right now, like who's the hottest person in wrestling? Pat McAfee is on TV every single day of the week. Every single day of the week. In every household in America.
With some of the biggest names in the country as well, too.
So I would venture to say that he is the most popular person in professional wrestling, or most known person in professional wrestling right now. I don't know. That's a good question, though, to your point. I don't know. We'll see I'm interested to see how it plays out and see what happens, but I still, going back to The Rock on Pat McAfee sucked. I think that was the total shits. I don't get it. I don't like storyline between business people, one who can't wrestle. Like Triple H can't wrestle, so why are we doing it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the payoff on that? I'm starting to hear the more Jeff Jarrett in me every day. Like, what's the payoff there? What are we getting to? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's a good point. That's a great question. All right. Next up, say what you want, but AEW is on fire right now. This isn't Homer of me. This isn't Miguel has now turned my name into down the middle PJ because he thinks I'm not down the middle. He thinks I don't take shots on both sides, which is whatever. That could be my in the chat gimmick. But I'm fixing to take a chair to his head. He don't know that yet. But no, AEW though, man, I do believe right now is they just, and I say this a lot too about both. WWE is as good as it is right now. I think AEW is as good as it is right now, like as good as it's ever been. They are really, really, they have guys on top who you don't really know who's going to win the title, and that's how good it is right now. Like, even their main event champion, like, you have so many other things going on right now. I thought last night's opener match, like, I was not prepared for that to be as good as it was. I like the Young Bucks. They're not for everybody. I understand that. I enjoyed Speedball Bailey in the match. Kevin Knight, I think, is a huge, massive star in the making. And obviously, Okada is my favorite wrestler right now. So, outside of Cody, right? I'd like to know, too, Jeremy, Jazzwares, when we getting that Okada figure? My guy's been there a year. When are we getting that Okada figure? It can't come soon enough. So, yeah, dude. I just think AEW right now is literally as good. And it helps, too, like I said, because you see a lot of positive discord online. It helps where you don't see so much negative shit constantly. But, like, look at the stuff that they're doing right now. Swerve, Hangman, Cope, FTR, Ricochet. Like, Kenny is back. Okada is how do you not think that they're not like, everyone's like, well, they're going to lose Mariah. They'll lose MJ. Who gives a shit? You trying to tell me they haven't built enough stars back up? Look at Mercedes right now. I just think that AEW is right now as peaking as it is. And we've talked about it. We're making the announcement right now. We are hitting All In. It is happening. We are taking Around the Mat to Arlington. And we are doing Around the Mat in Texas. So we're excited about that. We're going to have a live episode in Texas. So we're excited about that. All In will be there at Globe Life Field. We might be the only people who know who we are, but we're going to enjoy it. I just think AEW, like I said, right now is really, their shows are really just really good every week. Obviously there's stuff that sucks, but that's like anything. And I don't point out the stuff that sucks right now because I can't think of one specifically that I don't like. I'm sure I'll come up with something, but right now, obviously I don't love when they just hodgepodge people together like the Ops, but like Samoa Joe's doing Samoa Joe shit, so whatever, right?
At least it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, man, I just think AEW is on fire right now. And that's kind of where I'm at. What say you, AEW?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for AEW right now, really the perfect way for me to describe it is I feel like they're really kind of finding a groove, and they're really, kind of seeing where people fit well, where people don't fit well, the champions.
Yeah.
They're doing a really good job with not getting a lot of, no-name people on the shows. They're, really pushing the stars out there.
Yeah.
Could they do a little bit better? Of course they could. But I think they're hitting on all cylinders, man. And, doubling up.
That's a great point that you said that. I'm not to interrupt, but putting the stars out there every week, everyone's like, oh, they wrestle too much. No. Putting the stars out there every week is a huge help. And I never thought of that as a kid. But when you think about WWE back in the day, you saw the top guys every single week. Every single week. Right? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead to continue.
No, and I mean, I think that's a big part of the show. I mean, I think a lot of times the top guys, that's a big reason why a lot of people tune in. And if those guys aren't there, that might hurt some people off, and might not make them want to watch something else or something. So I really do think that AEW, they're the true alternative. They've definitely kind of found their way, and I hope it just keeps on continuing to go up. And as long as Tony and his dad keep on funding it, I don't think it's going anywhere.
I don't think they have to. I think that's the cool thing is like everyone says like they fund it. I'm like, didn't they just get like 150 million from HBO, from like Warner Brothers? Like, aren't they doing okay? They probably. I'm not saying they made all their money back, but like that probably makes it a lot easier to say, hey, yeah, we keep doing this.
Yeah, and I mean, and honestly, to touch back on what we were talking on earlier, they're selling out shows in Mexico. So, I mean, they're definitely on fire right now. And if you don't think so, go try to buy a ticket to that show down there, and that should tell you.
That's where I'm at. Like, good luck. You made a great point about, like I said, I think the stars thing, and I want to bring this up in our wrestling group chat. I was talking with G, who's not in the chat very often, and G was like, yeah, man, I liked it. Look at every other sport. The champion doesn't show up every week in boxing and in UFC. And I'm like, yeah, dog, and all we do is complain about LeBron not playing every fucking game. So, like, okay, here's your point.
Yeah. And for that
if you
analogy,
don't play in the NFL, if you're not are you the star quarterback or are you fucking not? Are you Tom Brady or are you fucking Zach Wilson? Choice is yours, brother. I'm just here to tell you that.
To play on that analogy as far as boxing and UFC, nobody, look at the buys. Nobody's buying those fights where the heavyweight champion or the big prize fighter is not fighting. Nobody wants to watch that shit.
And that's where I think it's a great point. Like, I think Roman is the worst thing to happen to WWE fans because they truly believe, like, oh, he's got this aura because he doesn't show up. Nah, dog, he's got this aura because no one fucking wants to watch him every week. He's not the star quarterback. That's my opinion of it. Everyone's like, oh, he's that guy. No, he's not. He can't go. It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, and I do think that I feel like there is a specific aura that you can gain by not being there every week. but there has to be something around it by, a surprise factor. Like, oh, is he going to pop up this week? Not just, oh, let's announce him for this
Right.
TV show,
Yeah.
and let's hope everybody flocks to watch the show. It's got to be more so in a storyline. Like, oh shit, is he kind of like Sting used to be back in the day? Is he going to show up? Is he going to come down from the rafters?
Yeah.
Is he going to do something like that? I feel like that would be okay, but not necessarily where Roman gets announced for once every 3 months to put his hand out for the microphone, say acknowledge me, go through the hits, and then see you later.
Yeah, I just don't see it as like everything else. And I'm not knocking just Roman. I'm saying this with anybody. Like, part-time champions are not good. I just don't think it's... If you're a part-time champion, how about this? You're champion for 6 months, and then you take 6 months off, and you're no longer champion. I'm cool with that. But, like, holding the belt hostage and not showing up on TV doesn't make any sense for me. So, I don't know, man. Like I said, I think it's a great idea that AEW sends out their stars and they wrestle on the shows. I'm not saying they got to wrestle every week, but it's great to have them on TV every week. That's my opinion of it, right? Yeah.
I definitely agree. Even if, like you said, they don't wrestle every week, as long as they're there, they're being seen, they're still being in the, front and center.
Yep.
Especially in big storylines, man. You can't just send out your surrounding crew and think that they're going to continue the momentum of a storyline when you're actually the big star.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great, I don't know. And I think, like I said, it's an interesting approach to things. So we'll see. Like I said, it obviously, Cody made the business better, whether everybody likes to see it or not, and he showed up every week. So here we are.
Yeah, he did.
All right, it's time for the randomizer. And this is a fun one. I don't know if we did this last year. I tried to look back at the notes, but I don't know if we did this last year, but we're going to do it now because I think every year your thoughts kind of change. So you've got to pick 4 people to build your company around. 4 wrestlers. We're going to start with the men's, and then we'll go into the women's. But 4 men to build a brand new company around. You can pick from any of the companies. Who are your 4, specifically for you personally? Not, hey, I'm trying to do this thing. It's your 4 that you're building a company around right now. Who are your 4?
I do feel like my first one, first and foremost, I would say Ospreay. Because I feel like you're gonna really get the whole package with Ospreay, dude.
Sure.
I feel like, of course, he's one of the best wrestlers, if not one of, the best ever, as far as in-ring goes. And I feel like he's really starting to gain some traction as far as promos, getting connected with the audience. He's kind of got a funny little like sense of humor about him, where he's like talking back and forth with the crowd. It seems.
Yeah.
And
Listen,
he also.
bruv.
Exactly, yeah, and I mean he's also got the mean streak as well, where he can get super serious, look dead in the camera and cut that good promo.
Yeah.
So I'd say Will Ospreay and Seth Rollins, man.
Hell yeah,
honestly,
I love that. Okay.
Between the two of them, I'd like to see a match. Anyway, just between those two,
I think it would bang for sure. It'd be a hammer.
Absolutely. But I mean, Seth Rollins, he also kind of speaks for itself. You can count on the dude to. I mean, he's there every single week, whether he's wrestling or not. He got some interesting wardrobes, so that would definitely.
I think it's great. Anybody that doesn't like his outfits are dumb.
Yeah,
I think they're great. I think it really brings that flair to it.
Absolutely,
it's very Macho Man-esque, and I don't think people talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely attracts the fashionistas if any of those are watching.
Yeah.
Damn, man, that's a good one.
It's hard. I'll give you my 4 while you think about it.
Okay.
Cody, Okada. I said Ospreay, but I also said immediately texted after Ospreay or Fletcher. I think they're not necessarily interchangeable, but I think I need a good heel, and I think actually Fletcher would be that guy. So Fletcher, and I said Seth as well.
Okay.
Cody obviously is the guy that, like, I think when you talk about professional wrestling, he is like the quintessential professional wrestler, right? He's got the wrestling background. He is a second generation. He is blonde. He's got the blonde thing. I think it's like when people talk about pro wrestling, like every famous pro wrestler up until the 90s was blonde, right? Bockwinkel, Hogan, Buddy Rogers Ric Flair, Harley Race, like all of them have been some sort of blonde. Dusty, like that's what my boy's like. I think you almost have to be blonde. Cody is that guy. He just looks the part. Okada, obviously, like I said, because Okada is the true wrestler guy. Strong style. He sells in the ring. He has a great move set. He knows how to work. He also built his character himself to become the Rainmaker. I think that's a big part of it. Ospreay or Fletcher? Let's go with Fletcher because I think you need that young guy who has gotten over, who looks the part in the ring, can wrestle in the ring, can do everything that anybody can do. That's that guy. And Seth, because I don't think there's a better... I think Cody is one as far as talkers go. His vernacular, his vocabulary, the way he talks, his cadence, the whole thing. Cody is that guy. But I think Seth is like 1A. Never needed a mouthpiece. Always did it himself. So that's why I think if you're going to build a company, those four guys, that's 2 heels, 2 tweeners, maybe 2 baby faces, however you want to look at it. Like a lot of that in there. And I think Fletcher eventually will be a massive baby face. So those are my 4. All right, who else you got? So you're going Will and Seth. Who else?
Yeah. I think my final 2, man, I think I'm going to go MJF. Super big MJF fan.
Yeah, you're a big MJF guy. So I love that because I'm not. I get it, but I'm not.
I've also picked up on, some of the things that you've mentioned while I've, watched some of his work and promos and, the way that there is some like tone of voices that he uses and some things that he says that I'm like, man, it does sound a little corny. I'm like, all right, come on, let's get past this and let's keep on track.
Yeah.
But he's also like an old school type of wrestling guy. He can cut a great promo. He can keep up with the style of today, but he also is, I feel like, more so like an old school type of wrestling guy.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
And I think I'm gonna break the rules a little bit, man. I think I'm gonna take FTR as my final.
I love that. That counts. They count as one. So
I
love that. I love FTR, so that's fair.
Yeah, dude, me too, man. And the stuff they're doing right now, I'm not so sure that they needed Stokely, but I think it is cool.
I think Stokely's going to help them.
Yeah, I think he's done well so far. The first couple weeks that he's been with them, but FTR, man, they're of course one of my favorite tag teams of all time. Probably will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
and I feel like they still got a lot of gas left in the tank. So I mean, I feel like build something around them. For sure.
I think that every great heel tag team of all time have had a manager. Now, there have been some that obviously haven't. Like when the Usos were heels, they didn't have a manager. But when you talk about like legacy tag teams back in the day, that's how you had it. You had a heater, right? That's what Stokely could be. That's what Cornette was. That's what Paul Ellering was.
And if I know Dax and Cash, I mean, they're definitely all about odes to the...
Oh, yeah, they love that shit. They're the same as me. I'm like, if I was that, I would be that way too, dude. We'd have matching gear, and we'd have a heater, for sure.
Hell yeah. And even down to the song, man, it just seems like something you could hear with the Freebirds running out through the crowd.
1,000%, man. Yeah. That's a great pick. I love that. And I think we have asked this now that I remember this. I think last season we did ask this and there were some comments. So let us know in the comments, though. Again, it's New Year. What 4 are you building a company around? Now, women. Let's switch to the women's side. What 4 women are you picking? I think this is actually way harder because I think you have Low and Away. Obviously, I'm looking back at my chat just to make sure I pick the right people here. Low and Away, obviously, you have a top star. I think Rhea is the top woman in the. But there are so many on the same level now of greatness. Not like they're all mid tier. I'm saying there's so many at the top from a female perspective that it's hard to choose 4. And I'll tell you mine. I went Rhea. Obviously, I think she's a mega star in every sense of the word. I picked Tiffany Stratton, which was a hard one for me because I think there's so many that are like right there at that thing. But it's, again, I'm building a company. I picked Tiffany Stratton, Toni Storm, only because she's blown me away to show she can obviously do anything. And I think Mercedes Moné has jumped back to the top for me. I think the stuff she's done in AEW has really rebuilt her. I think she does a great job. I think sometimes she still cringe as fuck on the mic, which I think that's just because like she's saying it with confidence, but it sounds cornball sometimes. But that doesn't matter. She obviously has moved back up to the top for me. So those are my 4: Rhea, Stratton, Tony, and Monet. If I'm building a company right now, if you'd asked me this last year, I don't know that I would have said those 4. But I wanted to go EO, Julia, and Vancouver as well because I think they're unbelievable. And even Mariah May, I wanted to throw her in there too. It's really hard when you get down to it. But those are my 4. What about you?
Man, I feel like my first 2 are pretty easy. I would definitely say Tony Storm and Mariah May.
Nice. I love that.
I feel like I could watch them feud and fight. I mean, forever. And,
yeah, they are they are the Sammy and Kevin Owens of the female. Not to compare, obviously, but because it's never fun to just like always be pigeonholed. But like that's kind of what it feels like, right?
But that's not a bad comparison though either.
Yeah.
But they can, of course, Tony Storm. She can do just about anything, and this role that she has going on right now, Timeless Tony Storm, it's definitely one of my favorite things that I've ever seen. I think it's
amazing. Last night was hilarious too, where she was dancing to Jamie Hayter's music coming out. All of the clips, if y'all don't see the bot clip, obviously I think a lot of those accounts are bots or whatever. They're engagement farmers, but there's some funny stuff out there last night. Just the stuff like. There's one where they knock the ring. Obviously, the Sonic rings thing is like a huge one, right? Where they knock someone down and all the rings come out. That's a hilarious one. But then they have a Mercedes running away to the Scooby-Doo thing. And it's hilarious. I'm like, damn, dude. The internet's sometimes undefeated in a fun way. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Do you ever watch any of the post scrums or whatever with AEW with Tony Storm?
Like on the shows afterwards? Yeah. She's incredible, and she's always talking about, dude. She's brought up she's brought up Wendy Richter for like the last 2 years. It's hilarious.
It's so funny because she always brings out like a little folded up piece of paper, and she's always got some story that she's wrote, and they're so explicit, and it's so funny. It's
she's
hilarious.
Great. She's great.
Same thing as Mariah May, though, dude. I feel like she's kind of really developing into her own, especially here in America. I really didn't see a whole lot of her stuff before she got to AEW.
Sure.
But, she's definitely somebody who's definitely on the up and coming.
Do you think she's going to sign with WWE? I don't know if we talked. I know we kind of talked about this last week and the week before. You think she's going to sign today? Now it's 2 weeks later. Do you think she's going to sign?
Yeah. I think she's if she does, I think it'll be a mistake on her part. I think she's just probably going to get lost in the shuffle. And I mean, WWE's got a lot of heavy hitters when it comes to the women's roster.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe we will get to see she get like an introduction, kind of like Penta and Phoenix did, where they've kind of elevated the people that they're bringing in. But who's to say? And definitely got to throw in Rhea in there, man. She, like you said, she's definitely a superstar. I feel like she can do probably a plethora of different roles. Good, bad, good, all the different stuff there. And I feel like the last one's hard.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It could be any of them. It could be Liv. It could be Mercedes. It could be Io. It could be Kyrie. It could be Bailey. Like, there's so many.
Man, you said it the first one, Liv. I would definitely take Liv, dude. She is become a super.
I don't think there's a single person in WWE, in the last 2 years, besides her and Dom, who have done more for themselves to get that bag than those two right there. They deserve all the money, all the accolades, all the push. No one's done more with not necessarily less, but just like no one's done more than they have.
Yeah, no, that's 100% honest, man. I saw a video earlier today on WWE's Facebook page, and it was Liv Morgan coming out to interrupt Lana and Bobby Lashley's wedding. Remember that love angle that they had?
Bro. Oh, my God. Yeah, I remember that. I try to erase it from my memory, but yeah.
Just to see that was what she was doing a few years ago, and now to see where she's at. I mean, she's a superstar now, and it's pretty impressive to see where she's came, within the last 2 years.
Yeah. All right, so you're picking Liv. I think those are good, man. Let us know. Like I said, in the chat, in the comments on the show, let us know what your guys' thoughts are on who your first 4 would be if you're building a company. I think it's always good. All right, man. Well, we've done it. We've gone another week. A lot of things happening, obviously, and there's a lot of stuff we could talk about. I think that's the thing for me. It's one of the thing as the host and the producer and like all these things for the show. It's like I have to, if I don't write it down as it happens, so many things happen in the 7 days of wrestling that I'm like, shit, I don't even know if we talked about that. Like, I can't even remember. I don't know if we talked about the Bailey interview. That's like the saddest thing ever of her getting cut from the show. I don't even remember if we talked about it.
Man, as much as a few years ago when she was Sasha and Bailey, you know, they were all together in Charlotte, and every week somebody was saying this was my dream growing up, and you know, this was my dream. I'm like, man, this shit is awful.
Yeah.
And you know, now to see, like, of course she's put in the work, had really good matches, had good feuds, and now to see, you know, her say that type of thing, I was like, man, that's kind of heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. I don't even know if we, you know, it's like, wrestling, man. What a love thing, man. Because you know, I was telling, it's crazy to me. I was telling this actually to Juice today that like I've been a Cubs fan since I was a very little kid. I used to watch the Cubs play on WGN. I was a huge Kerry Wood fan. He was my favorite baseball player. Then they had Kenny Lofton, who was also one of my favorite baseball players. I was a huge Cubs fan. As I got older, the Cubs lost in 2004 as I was a freshman in high school. Obviously, the Bartman incident, was like the whole thing happened. I still was a Cubs fan all the way up until really like probably in college, right outside of college, I didn't watch as much baseball. Then they won the World Series, and I can honestly tell you I didn't watch the Cubs that season. I didn't watch baseball really at all. After I stopped playing fantasy baseball, and I take that back. I was still playing fantasy baseball at the time, but like I really like wasn't a huge baseball fan. In the last 2 years, I have become again the biggest Cubs fan, and it's really like they were the shits again. Honestly, they were not good. The reason I tell the story is wrestling is a very similar thing for me. I went through a lull where I didn't watch WWE at all. Like, really at all. And the network came out, and the network changed everything. And this year, with baseball, I got MLB TV for free, and it's changed my thing about baseball. I'm like, I've watched almost every Cubs game this year so far. I watched today. I think I share that same sentiment about wrestling, where it's crazy that, like, you fall out of it for a little bit, but now I am as in it, not just because of the podcast, but I just love pro wrestling. But there have been times, you know what I mean? And that's the crazy thing about you. The reason all I'm saying this is the Lana and Liv thing. God, that was terrible. But thankfully, at that time, I was like so deep in New Japan at the time. I didn't even come out, man. I was only watching Okada wrestle, honestly, at that time. Or like old Great Muta matches or old stuff on WWE Network. Like I wasn't watching live every week, WWE. So it's crazy, man, like to think about. That's the beauty of pro wrestling, and as a fan, how you can step away and then come back to it. All that stuff, dude. I just love it. Love pro wrestling.
Same, dude. I watch whether it's actual stuff on Peacock or even like I've been really big into Stevie Richards' podcast here lately. I've been watching a lot of that. You know, his YouTube channel always gets me. He's always got stuff on YouTube. Is his podcast good? Is his podcast good? Yeah, that's where I watch at on YouTube. Okay. And he's got a lot of cool takes, and it's funny. My girlfriend, she's like, do you ever get tired of watching wrestling? I'm like, no, I don't. I honestly don't. I love it. I'm like. Yeah, that's the cool thing, man. It's a good thing about it. And there's always something more. Whether it's an actual show, it's a pay-per-view. Whether it's the good old shoot interview online. I mean, I watch anything and love it. Yeah, I'm ate up with it. All right, man. Well, we did it. Like I said, it's Around the Mat, episode 15 here on season 2, and next week again. We will not be live, so don't forget to check us all the other episodes out and let us know what your thoughts are or comments. But we'll be back in 2 weeks. It won't be long. And until next time, when we go Around the Mat.